Hi, I'm Megan. As you can see, we are going to be doing the iconic bouncy 90s blowout style hair together as a little tutorial. I know it might look like a lot, but you can achieve this look so easily. I'm going to be showing you how to do this with heat tools, non-heated tools, heat tools with the curler, and then even tools that you can use while you are sleeping. Look at that time saver. So for this too, just know that it can be achieved with dirty hair, clean hair, and you don't have to have just freshly washed hair either. You can add water as just like a little add-on to help add that little curl with hairspray. So don't think that this has to be a huge production, especially if you are kind of looking not to wash your hair as often. And this is kind of like the perfect thing to just add some volume and everything when you're trying not to wash your hair as much. A quick rundown if you are new to Amazon Lives. My storefront is Megan Quist, and each item is down below. When I speak to a product, I will highlight it. And I've got name brand products as well as lower priced items, and you can just kind of see what you gravitate towards, click on it, save it for later, add it to your own little shopping list or things for future holiday gifts coming up. It's going to be a Black Friday before we know it, and a few of these products I got on Black Friday, and I am so glad because I use them almost every single day. So the first thing that I will speak to, that is the only non-hair related product in this live, are these teardrop earrings. So these are a little bit of the larger size. They are the 4mm, and it was kind of like a gamble, not many reviews, a lower price point. These were $8.99. I also got them in gold because it was just such a good deal. But oh my gosh, they are just so lightweight. It doesn't hurt at all. And if you're like, Megan, those are ginormous, I'm not gonna wear those. They come in varying sizes by the listing, and they do come with earring backings. I just keep all of mine in a little separate container, but it's just a little fun add of shimmer before my hair kind of covers it. So the main item that I love to use personally to achieve this look is my Lange Brush. I got this on Black Friday last year, so I definitely bookmark this item, and it does come in other colors if you are not into the pink. It also comes in different sizes, so if this is too big, not big enough, there's other options to look at. There are a few other brushes that I've seen a lot of people use and have talked highly of. So we got the Drybar version. That one is a little bit more expensive at $108, but it is currently 30% off. And then for a more affordable option, there is the Revlon one highlighted currently, and that one is also on sale right now, 16% off, and it is $39.61. So we've got prices across the board there. And just a note that I also brought this on an international trip, and it did work with the converter, survived and everything, so it is a well-made hairdryer. And then if you are going to achieve this look with wet hair, I'll just quickly give you a rundown of the tools I use. So I get really tangled hair, and I love to use kids detangler. I guess that's usually who it's marketed to at a lower price point. I love the Drybar, all the other detanglers. I just can't get myself to spend that much money on it. So I currently have this Cantu protective style for kids. It is gentle with shea butter, coconut oil, and honey. And I have this on my subscribe and save, just always using it. A great thing so I don't rip out half my head. Excuse me. And if you do want to save more, there are bundle deals. Another great thing to protect your hair while you're brushing through it is the right type of brushes. So I personally love this wet brush. As you can see, you can't really even tell that this was an aerial at some point, but there is a difference between brushing wet hair with this versus like a bristle boar or just like a little comb or pick. So personally, I think it just goes on through and it has all of its bristles still. So we are good on that one. Some other just little styling tools that I'll use throughout this when my hair is wet or dry. I know some people are amazing at just parting a hair down the middle, but I like assistance. So here's this little comb here, and I love that it's also got the metal, more intricate side right there. If you want another fine comb, there's this, and there's also this little 3-pack here for $5.99, and it's also got the little brush. So for this, I love it for just like those little baby hairs, or if you're trying to smooth down flyaways with hairspray at the end. I love this. And even better, both of these, I have multiple. I will just stick them in extra bags, purses, some in my car. They're just always a great little thing versus carrying around like a full brush or even like a half-size brush. It's just, it'll fit in that little like tampon zipper part most of the time. So listed a few of those, and this brush $4.99. So what I do like to use though when my hair is dry and to comb out these curls, I find it to just keep all those flyaways intact and not fully brush through the curls, depending on how your hair will hold, is a bristle boar brush. So we've got this one here. I've also listed a few other ones depending on if you prefer oval, rectangular, different sizes, different price points. So I've got highlighted this cute pink one, $14.99. And then the OG of hairbrushes is Mason Pearson. If you watch The Devil Wears Prada, it's like when he's got the blue bag full of all the goodies, and it's like Mason Pearson hairbrush. That's this. Yes, that brush is $195. I worked for a beauty company, and there's a reason why it's that price point. So you got your high quality there, but that could also be a really great gift item for the upcoming holidays. So now that we've got our hair brushed, detangled, parted, it's time to use a blowout cream. So I just went all in on Lange with their deals on Black Friday last year. So we've got the Select Thicket Cream. I have almost used all of it in a year. And when I tell you, when you see these blow dry creams, yes, it's expensive, but I use literally a pea-sized amount, the smallest amount, and it will last for so long. Personally, when I put it on, I'll just kind of scrunch it through my wet hair. I've found that if I put on a little bit too much, as it's blow drying, it kind of like cakes on there. So that's just a great thing about this one. I've tried other brands, but I just keep coming back. It's like a nice small bottle. It looks cute, and you really don't need very much at all. So this whole thing is kind of like a trial process throughout, finding what you like and don't like, but that's a plus. And then another item that I've been starting to use the last few weeks, I got a sample of this right here. It's the R & Co, and this is more for protection. It's a moisture shine cream. So I will just add a little bit of this after I add the Lange cream, and I will typically mainly just have that on the ends to protect it, especially because I do have colored hair. I'm not naturally a redhead, so just trying to protect my hair in as many ways as possible. And two, if you're hesitant, I love to get little sample packs of different brands just to kind of test across the board before investing in the full one and then never using it. So if you are strictly focused though on heat protection, I have been using this for years, the Drybar Jumpstart Quick Dry Blowout Serum. So this has heat protectant up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit and 232 degrees Celsius. And then it also just kind of helps to, I don't know how it does it, but it keeps your hair dry, but also kind of wet. So that just speeds up the process as well, which I love. But of course, you don't have to have those to achieve this look. It's just that little added extra oomph, especially if you're somebody like me that does have hair on the finer side. And then the last one that's a little bit more splurge worthy that you can use on dry or wet hair, and you do also just need that little pea size. And this is mainly for your mid-length to your ends. I'm sure you guys have seen Olaplex before, and I know it might seem confusing with all of the different numbers that they have out there, but just look for the base words that you're looking for. If it's smoothing, protection, moisture, you got it. But I go to the number 6 because this one is for reducing frizz, but also nourishing your hair and protecting it. So I will just switch this up and add it a few times a week, or if I am seeing my hair kind of get to that point where it needs to be cut or it's just getting a little disheveled from all of these testings that I do until I can perfect a look. But I've also added a few of the other Olaplex items there that I think would be good if you're just in that general area of protecting your hair from the heat. So down to the main pieces. Once I dry my hair with the Lange Brush, so you can decide if you want your blowout to go outwards or inwards or upwards, and you can change the direction anywhere around your head, obviously. So once I have my hair dried, and you can do this on dry or wet hair, in the direction you like to, you can kind of like test it out before. See if you like it. If you don't like it, literally just blow dry it the other way, test it. And then to achieve more of that full layered look, and why you want to do it right after this is because your hair is then hot and it's going to help hold it in further. So with that, I will just take one of these out to kind of show you how I do it. So also the clips that I use, I have various ones, but the ones that I find are just easiest to stick in without, especially if it's kind of crowded, are these thinner metal clips. And then this Drybar one, that's $34. The Big Hair Besties kit also comes with the yellow clips, so you can kind of just get a feel for what you want, but it really, I've used like name brand ones, cheap ones, they all hold your hair together. So as I take this one out, this one is a layer and this one is on the shorter side. So you can see it's just kind of curled in here. But if I had just blow dried my hair, I would take the Lange brush and just blow dry it inwards. And then as it's hot, I would just set it on like this so that it's on the outer side and then roll in. And then if you wanted to achieve the outward facing look, then you would roll out. So I will take out just a few more of these just to give you an idea of how it's going to look. And then I've also just highlighted those metal clips. So I'm sure you've seen those in a bunch of checkout aisles as little like impulse buys, but they are very much useful. And then also highlighting, there's a current deal. So this one is $6.98 if you want to add some color. And then that one also comes with a skinny brush and the clip. So that is like an amazing deal to have it all right in there for $7. And then I also just highlighted the other one that is the cheaper price point of the ones that look like the Drybar one. So you can see with taking out this one that I curled it on the outer side but folded inward but upwards, and then from the side ones I folded inward and inward on the side. So right off there too, you can just see how it's naturally more bouncy. And I find that I see that more so when it is either a volume mousse or one of those blowout creams. And then don't worry if it kind of feels like you're ripping your hair out. Like you're always gonna lose a few little hairs, but that's just part of the process. And then I've also just highlighted some other clips. So to a great stocking stuffer, and if you are just like all one colorway, you will definitely be able to find your color because they just make these in everything. All right, so, and also if you want to speed up this look, all you need to do is just do like a couple in the front, and then you can still have the nice layers. I don't always do my full head full of curlers, but it honestly doesn't take long. And then if you are someone who will spend like 40 plus minutes curling their hair, doing whatever, and you feel like it just never stays, I would recommend right when you are putting on one of these rollers, so I'll show it with this one, is to add a little bit of hairspray. So I do that just because I have such fine, thin hair, but right, because it kind of like suctions onto the curlers. So right when it's on here, I will just spray a tiny amount right here, right before I roll it. And even if you accidentally spray a little bit too much, totally fine. You can just run a little bit extra of your brush through it. Okay. And then two, I would recommend, if you don't exactly know what look you're trying to achieve, to get a pack with varying sizes of these. So typically you'll just have the bigger and the smaller one, but I like to use the smaller ones for the little layers. But if you do have thicker hair, I would definitely recommend these bigger ones. It just gives more of that oomph volume, but just because you have shorter hair like me doesn't mean that you have to use all of the short ones. So before I do the bangs, I'll just show you initially how sometimes it can get a little like crimpy from where those clips were. So that is where I love to use this brush here, because it really just smooths it. And then I'm just doing like little brush, and then I will lift up slightly, but I won't bring my hair all the way down. And then this also is kind of adding just like a little bit of a volume. So think of if you were kind of like brushing your hair out through dry shampoo. And then a good thing to remember is if you do want your hair curled in, and if you did have to brush through it, you don't want to brush downwards, because then you're going to kind of straighten out the curl. So for these pieces, I will kind of like use my hands to smush it and just brush through a little. But typically with just a normal curler, I will use a full pick and just like actually brush through. But because these curls are so big, I just want to make sure I don't ruin it. All right, so we've got more of a flat line there. And then I like to add a little bit of hairspray as I'm going along, just like in case it does deflate for any reason and you're like, oh, can't just like, I don't know, go and spend another X amount of time getting ready. So I have two of my favorites here, whether you like stronger hold, lighter hold. I guess depending on like the day, the weather, but I will typically lean more towards a light flexible hold just to not have it as crunchy. I know if you were ever in like dance recitals or like gymnastics or something where your parents would just like mob on all the hairspray and it would be like Crunch Town. It's not what we're trying to achieve here, but I love Kevin Murphy. They have a wide assortment of products and they have one specifically for different hair colors as well. But for today, I will use this one, just a stronger hold. So I always close my eyes after one time actually getting hairspray in my eyes. But I'll just keep a little distance between actually using it. And then I will kind of like scrunch it up a little. And then you can kind of play with it as well. So don't be afraid of like just using your hands, tussling it around. But for the most part, it should be styled how you want it. So for the final part, I have just highlighted these little baby clips because I will use that to kind of like hold down my baby hairs. There's so many right in this front part where the bangs are. And then typically even though my hair is parted down the middle, I will just do one big roller here. But you can do two smaller rollers or two bigger rollers on each side, depending on like how dramatic of a look you want to do. But I feel like this is the best time saver, is to do this one. And then I also just highlighted some cuter, like more aesthetic acrylic ones of these. So the one clip though that I do love for the top piece is again this metal one, because it just slides on right down, and then of course you don't want creases in the front. So we're just gonna pull it down. And then before I fully pull it down, it's kind of like a little crunchy. So I'm just gonna smooth through this. And then I'm gonna just smooth through here because I can't always fully reach it when the other curlers are in the way. Okay. Oh, and I go under. Okay, so initially it looks very strange, but this is where this guy will come in handy. So you can just use your fingers or use a brush, but I think I kind of like to just like see where it wants to lay. And then if I can just kind of like flip it open, we'll see. All right. Like my hair is just not. This is weird because it's like the camera's at an angle, but oh my gosh, I'm almost gonna have to like look at, this is like, it's like parting your hair in a reverse mirror. Okay, we're just gonna roll with it. But for this, initially, I like to add, okay, I'm fixing the part on my own screen. Okay, I like to add those other clips just to kind of hold down the bangs while we kind of configure how it's gonna go. And then you can see all the little baby hairs. It's just kind of helping tame them. So this is the folded in part. I don't know yet if I want to do it in or out. And then for the final look, I'm just going to use now this little skinny guy. And then we are going to grab a shimmer spray. So this is another Kevin Murphy product. I've highlighted the one for blonde hair, and then I have red hair. So there's like the gold one for all the other hair colors, and I'm almost out. But you can see that gold shimmer here. Absolutely love it. And it just like brings out the highlights in your hair. So I think that would be especially fun during the holidays to use. Okay, so I'm not crazy about it on the inside. I'm literally like kind of blinded by it. So we're just gonna see where it wants to go. Okay, so that's what I also love about this is even though it was turned in for any of these, you can just kind of like mold it how you want it and it will stay. And you can always just like continue to play with your hair. So I'll shake the shimmer spray before using it. And then you want to keep a little bit of a distance. And there's other brands with mists, but it's really pretty under like bright lights or in the sun, whether like you have set highlights or not. I love to add the little shimmer. And then I'll also show you some other ways to achieve this look without the actual just like curlers. And then two, if you didn't want the middle part, you can kind of like go to the sides, just kind of play around with it. Do a full-on little oomph. But also just know that the first time you do it, it probably won't be the most beautiful final result, at least not for me. It's kind of taken away of trial and error to figure this whole thing out. Oh, and sometimes your hair will just stick out like Cindy Lou Who. Okay, so for other ways of how to achieve this look, so this is super cool. This is by Revlon and it's currently 40% off. So for this, it is a hair dryer and a hair curler all in one. So as you're drying it, you could like sculpt it into the way that you want your hair to stay. For this one, it just isn't as quick of a dry as something with the full-on brushes. So I would recommend like halfway drying your hair, either air drying it or like using a hair dryer just partially and then using this. But I love this as like a time saver hack. You have your curler, your dryer all in one, and then it's got various settings as well for high, medium, and low, depending on what heat setting you want to use. So love the time savers. Then another way to achieve this look, because I know you're probably thinking that this is so thin and the curlers are a lot thicker, but you can still achieve it. I've done this look with a straightener as well. So it's just kind of how you angle the heat part of it. But another thing that you can do is use just strictly a thicker hair curler and or a thicker hair curler with a round brush. So Here I've got the Kristen S 2-inch, and that is honestly hard to find. Like when I wanted to get a 2-inch one, they aren't typically sold in stores as often, so that's why I went online. It's currently 34% off at $46, but with that, you can kind of roll your hair out partially while you're blow drying it with this, and then just add the curl as that extra part. And I don't know about you, but I have typically used the wand curler over the years, so I had to watch a YouTube tutorial on how to use the clamp. But also if I am trying just to do like a thicker curl, sometimes I will just kind of like rest it on here without actually clamping it, and you will still get it. So that's another option. And then a few of the brushes, I like this one because it's got like a little squishy, grippy handle. And then I added another one that's gold, cute, and it had a lot of good reviews. And then if you are trying to achieve this look with dirty hair, I have added 2 quick dry shampoos. So we've got the Kevin Murphy again, and then the Not Your Mother's. And I saw this cool little package of like Beach Wave, Volume, and then their typical just Clean Freak dry shampoo. So if you did want to try out some others or a good like stocking stuffer, I feel like never have too much dry shampoo. Now for some ways that you can achieve this look with no heat at all. So whether you're just trying to preserve your hair or you are traveling and you don't want to like bring your outlet converters, etc., and or just wanting to save time. So it's something that you can do. This one, either you have to have fully wet hair and let it dry overnight, or use dry hair and then I would put water in my hand and kind of like scrunch it around it. But okay, I'm just gonna go with the side. Okay, that's better. So this I originally saw on Shark Tank in college, and I am 28 years old, so it's been a while, but it is called the Sleep Styler. So this comes in a little baggy thing, and you get a bunch of these. They are all this size, at least in the one that I got years ago. It looks the same though from the listing. And for $30, you get a whole load of them. So you basically just roll it up in there, and then instead of using a clip, you're just gonna strap it on here, and then it just Velcros. I would just be careful to actually have it line up on the Velcro so you're not like Velcroing your hair and ripping it out. But this is nice because it's called the Sleep Styler because you're literally like sleeping on it like a little squishy pillows. So this is kind of fun, especially too if you do have thinner hair. That will work really great because you don't have to put in as many. And then these things, I've added a piece of an extension to show you how to wrap it. So these are the heatless curling rods. I've added 2 different ones, one that's more patterned, 30% off for $6.99, and then also another one that comes with a clip and 2 scrunchies for $9.99. So with these, you can just twist it, the full piece of hair itself, so you can decide if you want to go inwards, and then just add the scrunchie on the bottom to hold it down, because this would actually be like on your head, and then you're going to twist it around and then add the scrunchie at the bottom. But with this too, it's typically like 1/2, 1/2. So what I would recommend is if this was the half of your head, to section it off and put 1 chunk of hair going one way and 1 chunk of hair going the other way. So like we would twist this one around inward, and then we would twist this one around the other way across it, and then I would add water and just squish it around like this to help it stay in there. I have tried it without water and it just it did not stay on there. Like the curl didn't hold, at least with my hair. But I also love these for extensions. So I'm not currently wearing extensions. I go in and out of using them. But especially with extensions, they're not gonna like rejuvenate like your actual hair on your head. So just a way to kind of protect them if you do style them. I think that these are amazing for that, to have it set overnight. And then it's also a time saver because then you don't have to like also style your fake hair and your real hair. So we've got those, and if these aren't your colorways, there are so many other colors like package styles, etc. And then a more efficient one for the heatless curls is what I call the octopus. But it comes off with each of the straps, but it also comes off around here, and then you can literally like wrap it around your head. I just don't want to Velcro my head. And then twist it around. And then the nice part about this one is if you're not going to use all of them, there's varying listings of this. I mean, this one only 2 extra come off for the middle. So you don't have to use them all, but there's just like varying amounts of how many strings there are. But the thing that I do love about this one is it has that built-in twisty. So you don't have to worry about bringing a bunch of scrunchies or clips, etc. Once your hair is wrapped around it, then you can either also like wrap this around to kind of make like a little ball to hold the hair, or you can just simply tie it around the end like that, like a ponytail, and just make sure that it's secure. But obviously if you do start at the top and you have shorter hair, you are gonna have to kind of like scrunch it up a little more to hold it in there. But this one is a great overnighter. I have not tried to fall asleep with either of these on my head overnight, so I can't speak to that. But I have fallen asleep with these on, and I guess my biggest recommendation would be to like make it even, so it's not like, I don't know, uncomfortable. But you'll figure out what you like and don't like with those. But I'll just put it back on the first Lange Brush. So this is my OG, and again, it can go whether you want to use the curlers or not. You can achieve that kind of like inner turn. It just won't be as dramatic and won't hold as well. And I attribute that to adding that chunk of hairspray right before putting the curler in. But this is the final look. So you can have your blowout style, and then you don't have to think of this as like a whole production. You could just do your bangs and then put your hair up. Or again, just do like what I typically do is just the one in the bangs and then one here and one here. So it goes really quick. And then as a time saver, of course, think about the order that you're doing this in. So I will dry my hair, let it up, and then put on my lotion so like my hair isn't getting full of it, and then do my makeup, and then by the time you're all ready, you just take it out and you're ready to go. So I wouldn't like go through all of your makeup and everything and then put this in, unless like you want to walk around with this for a while. But that is my bouncy blowout tutorial, and I have it as a holiday style listed, but of course you can do this any old day, even with like sweatpants. It's still a super cute look, easy to do. I love watching like TikToks and reels of people popping it out and seeing how it comes to life. And again, just have patience with yourself when you are creating this, because sometimes it might look terrible or it might not hold, but you just got to find what products work for you and your hair and the right steps, etc. But you can shop all of these down here, and also in my storefront I have various idea lists, and I will add the cover photo to this live on my storefront as well for you guys to reference later. I'm Megan Quist for the Megan Quist storefront. You can also find me on Like to Know It, and then on Instagram I am Meg Quist. So that will also all be in my storefront. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in.